Good evening, everybody. It's Tammy Maxine, and this week I am bringing you another law from A Little Light on Spiritual Laws by Diana Cooper. This week is the law of resistance. Now, I've been kind of working throughout this chapter and wanting to tap into what the law of resistance is, but I also want to focus on the art of allowing. So in this video, I'm going to give you some information around what I discovered about in my research on resistance and the law of resistance, and then also a little bit of information in the book that Diana Cooper has brought up. And there's a few things that I have written, and I might share some things with you about that. So when I Googled resistance, the law of resistance, and this is what came up. And there's something really synchronistic and really ironic that has evolved from two of the words that are in here, which led me on a different path of research. So resistance is a measure of the opposite to the current flow in an electrical current. Okay, so let's look at resistance. And what it went on to say is resistance is a measure in ohms. Ohms are named after George Simon Ohm, a German physicist who studied the relationship between voltage, current, and resistance. He is credited for formulating Ohm's law. Okay, so it's kind of sciencey. There's some information on what is, because I was like, okay, what is Ohm's law? So Ohm's law is a formula used to calculate the relationship between voltage, current, and resistance in an electrical current. So when I think of this, I think of relationships. There has to be the voltage, okay? There has to be something that happens. There has to be a current or the frequency that takes place from what takes place. And then there's a resistance, a response, a resistance, or a place of allowing that takes place. So it was kind of interesting that, of course, meditating, the ohm symbol is 369, 3 voltage, current, and resistance. So there's something interesting in that. I just want to bring some awareness around that conversation, and let's have one around that. So now also what I looked at is the art of allowing. I've gone through the words in chapter 5, and I've done a little bit of editing from my first video 2 years ago. And what I really want to focus on in this video is the art of allowing. So we know that a law of resistance exists. We know that what we resist persists. We know that cliche. We've heard those words before. We get it. So how do we stop resisting? So what is resistance? Resistance is, I'm happy where I'm at right now and I don't want to move from where I'm at. So there's so much around that kind of energy where when we're so comfortable being with ourselves that the outside world and touching lives of other people happens to create feelings between, and we have experiences and we have to navigate life again and relationships. But this art of allowing is something to consider. What would you think if someone told you to start practicing the art of allowing? If you have a firm grip on your world, right? The law of resistance. And don't want to let go, it may be difficult. Find out how little faith, patience, and trust can you get along the way when it comes to your well-being. So whoever wrote this said a few months ago, I got some specific feedback that it would serve me, my work, and my growth to start practicing the art of allowing in a more conscious and deliberate way. While I was familiar with the concept of allowing, I realized I had very little awareness or experience of it in actual practice. So I definitely would like to have a conversation around that information. And something I wrote recently as well. In my own observation of self, where what I want to share is I find myself healing these hurts, okay? This is what I've done for 12 years. I've made it my absolute practice to take all the triggers, anything that bothers me, anything that I didn't like, and turn it around. The ability to turn it around. It's like conflict resolution within myself. So when we're feeling pain, we actually have a battle going on inside. It's a wanting to let go, but needing things to stay the same. So the bigger the longer that has stayed in your body, the more power behind it. And I had recently said, the moment you let go, or the moment you decide, you know what, this is where I'm going to stop what I'm doing, and I'm going to choose what I need to do, because my higher self keeps telling me what that is and what that looks like, and I keep getting those nudges and those synchronicities, and I am leading myself toward what I need while saying no. So interestingly enough, when we say no to what arises, we are resisting. That means we don't trust the actions, thoughts, and perspectives or beliefs that we had prior and made choices from those, that what we are coming into isn't going to serve us. And that's incorrect. Everything that's coming into your life will serve the you that felt it being or becoming. So I wrote, I find myself healing some hurts. Life has offered me another chance to review a judgment, lately building up. And you know when there's something that's getting louder and louder and louder in your experience, that we have an opportunity to pull ourselves out of it and just observe what's happening. I find myself, okay, so remember this is an affirmation. So without making the affirmation, what comes to mind was a judgment of myself. And the word, I don't even want to say it. However, I went to, who does this remind me of? Who am I reminding myself of? Because at that point, when it came to me, I understood all of the layers of judgment that I made upon that character in my life. And now I'm standing here feeling like I'm standing in that being's body and projecting what it is that I had been judging in order to heal it, in order to notice it. I could go and continue to be that way, but I'm the kind of person where I observe myself in order to become the change I wish to see in the world. And so getting to my point, we're now shifting a collective perspective once we have that awareness that when I reflect on me and what I need to do to be a better person in the world, I get to change my mind. But it's like, I think to myself, I've been judging someone this whole time, and it was kind of unconscious, and I didn't spend a lot of energy judging that person. It's just I know the judgments I have of them have not changed. How do I do that? How do I change that? Because this lesson is upon me, you know? Think about the words that we use, the words, the labels we give people. It's really something that actually can take us to the core of our own wounds. You know, like what word describes that judgment or that projection for me? It was intimidation. And in a sense, we've all experienced this word. We don't need details to understand that we have felt this feeling and don't like it, right? But how can we be better people? So, yes, we can do better by being more gentle while accepting what is shown to me. What is shown to me, what I bump into, the characters I bump into, is for me, not to judge, but to observe, to see the self, to not say no. I say, if there's ever a double negative in your sentence, there's something there to turn around. If I said, I don't want to do that because I don't like that, it's like, what can I do different? How can I be that change? So when I look at Diana Cooper's book with the Law of Resistance, it's like everything we focus on, we are calling it towards us. It's in our thoughts, in our beliefs. We invite people, situations, and things, even material things, into our life. And this was the funny thing. Sometimes when these things arrive, okay, let's pretend there's no expectation. But when these things arrive, let's pretend there is an expectation, because that's kind of what people get stuck on, is this expectation. So the law of resistance gets in our way, especially if we have expectations about what should show up for us because we've wanted it to be manifesting a certain thing and it doesn't show up like that. So when it arrives, think about ordering a package and it shows up in a different wrapping. When it arrives, if we really do not want them, we try to push them away again and again. And this reminds me of a Matt Kahn quote where he said, we all want the same things. Love. And when love shows up, you got somewhere else to be. And how many of us have rejected relationships or heard someone say that person is, and then the judgment words come onto it, and it's not like that person had something to teach you, right? And we are bumping into these characters for our clearing. We have to let this stuff in and not judge it. Because it'll all fall away if it's not for you anyway. So the vibration does check in with you. So just like, even when you heal something, you think you've healed it to the perfect, like I've gotten to this level many times where I've healed this now, but then something will trigger me and then I'll go, okay, I guess it's not fully healed yet. And what I did notice along those little healing integrations is that the time frame in which the suffering, or the magnitude in which the suffering exists, actually lessens. So when we start to do the healing work, there's this level of faith that all is well, all is moving naturally, things are getting out of our way, we're getting out of our own way. And it's really important how you talk to yourself. How you talk to yourself matters, right? And stating what you want, not what you don't want. This is a huge spiritual law sort of mantra that we, or I, talk about quite a bit or say on a regular basis, is talk about what you want, not what you don't want. So with the law of resistance, if I say nodding yourself, okay, or shoulding yourself, stop shoulding yourself. So it's, I should be doing this. And if you say what you want, not what you don't want, if it's something that you've done before, turn it around and go, I love when I do this. This brings me so much joy. Not I should be doing this. Just stick with I love when I do that. It brings me so much joy. And that be your mantra. Because when you keep saying I love when I do that, you'll find yourself doing it and then you'll feel the feelings of joy. So picture what you want to create in your life and speak about that. So we want to basically learn the art of allowing so that we can make our choices based on the nudges that we get, the yeses that we can move into. Because we resist and persist, there's that level of what I resist, it's going to keep coming at me. We certainly want to affirm or get into the habit of affirming things that we can fall back on, or our energy feels so strongly that it's not possible for us to allow the resistance of life. So yeah, being in a state of allowing and also affirming. So let's say you're not well and you want to affirm, you want better health. You want better health, okay? Speak about the ways you are healthy. I'm healthy in the way I speak to my grandmother. Whatever it is, state the ways you're healthy. I'm a healthy driver. I stay in my own lane and I drive my own car. These affirmations will help with the state of allowing, because as you affirm things, you'll see more of them. They will show up in a form of confirmation. To attract success and wealth, embrace the positives. So there's, I wanted to touch on something here. There's a comment or a quote here that says, releasing control frees energy. Now, the word control, I'd like to have a little conversation around the word control. Control is a vibration, and it actually puts up I think it just like cements something. It really cements something that it's like, I'm going to say that like boundaries or forgiveness, it's not actually an action step. It's a way of being. And during this way of being, there's a sense of safety, or a safe, it's not safety. It's a place of confidence. It's a place of confidence that as I release my tears, it frees my energy. As I release the things that don't feel good, I free my energy. So when they use a word control, it's such an umbrella term. I mean, I get the word, I understand the word, but it's like brushes off the actual work or the details. Because we want to embrace what we want in life. Okay? And when you embrace what you want in life, this art of allowing, or this art of moving into what we want, not what we don't want, we'll find that we have more energy. And anytime you happen to catch yourself speaking of others, if it's third party, it's gossip, resisting that which has taken place to allow the unfolding to be as it is for what it's meant to move in a being. There's like a catalyst to move people where spirit, the source of all oneness, knows you more than you do. So look within and decide what you really, really want, and just keep your vision there. And then there was another comment here. So, something so and so and so makes me so angry. This was a quote. And the term makes me, I want to have a little chat around this because nothing makes you. So when we own our feelings, it actually re-empowers us. So I want to give you an example and see if you can feel the difference and how it feels to hear it or to say it. How does it feel in your body when I say, "You make me so angry. You make me so angry. You make me so angry." Versus, "I'm angry. And I'm angry because," or "I have anger in me. I am experiencing feelings of anger. And this is why." It's validating. It's self-validating. When the words, "You make me so angry," that has a victim mentality, unfortunately. It also is disempowering. So even if someone says, "You make me so happy," I go, "No, I don't. You're happy when we're together." You can own your happiness. And it's important to own your own anger, not that person is making me angry. There's a huge difference in that. If you want to have a chat around that too, I'd love to talk more about that. Anything that you are resisting has a message for you. Open up, affirm your value, let yourself trust the unfolding that is taking place for you. You are always guided even if you think that what's happened. Well, okay. I realize that people have experienced some really, really, really tough things. And I understand that there's a lot of pain in the world and people do go through some really hard things. I want to picture you in the light of peace and understanding and compassion. Make way for the unfolding of forgiveness and new perspectives. Decide what you want in life. Just change it up. Go back to you and focus on what you want and where you want to go. And send out that magnetic, exciting, enthusiastic, just send that out. Send that joy out into the universe and watch things unfold for your good. Embrace what you want and feel alive. Namaste.